another transformative episode of the Breaking Barriers interview series on Boost Through's The Resilient Power TV show, where we elevate voices of women executive leaders, confront truth, and create space for healing and resilience across every dimension of the human experience. I am your amazing host and founder of Boost Through, the Honorable Dr. Saskia Christian. Now, today's episode is special, it's powerful, and it's necessary. We are shining a light on something society still whispers about, ignores, or only talks about when tragedy strikes: men's mental health. Now, this topic is near and dear to my heart, since I have a wonderful husband, an amazing son, who's my legacy. Now, what about men who feel pressure to be strong? Men, those who suffer in silence. Men who carry trauma, expectation, grief, shame, depression, often without support, language, or a safe space. Now, today we are changing that narrative. Yes, right here on the Breaking Barriers interview series, we are breaking that silence. We are creating a space where men's mental health becomes part of the global resilience conversation, not an afterthought. And I couldn't think of a more brilliant, qualified, or spiritually grounded expert to join this conversation than our guest today, Dr. India Caldwell-Cox, a psychiatric executive consultant, behavioral health strategist, CEO, chief nursing officer, compliance expert, and the creator of the Red Pearl Standard. Now, Dr. India Caldwell-Cox is a behavioral health executive, system transformation consultant, and founder of the Red Pearl Standard. She partners with C-suite and nursing executives, beautiful, high-performing leaders, athletes, and organizations to stabilize performance, strengthen emotional intelligence, and build resilient leadership cultures under pressure. We absolutely need that. With over a decade of executive experience, she is known for restoring clarity in complex environments and helping leaders burn bright without burning out. Now, for more than 20 years, Dr. India has led hospitals, behavioral programs, and psychiatric systems through deep transformation. She has built infrastructures from the ground up. Impressive. And she has supported clinicians, executives, families, and patients. She has seen the realities of mental health from the boardroom to the bedside. And uniquely, she understands the silent suffering of men. Let's welcome the phenomenal Dr. India to the Breaking Barriers interview series. Welcome, Dr. India.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saskia. That was just an awesome introduction and very humbling. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. You're an outstanding professional, so of course it fits.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. India, every trailblazer has an origin story, a moment or a series of moments that ignited their life's calling. Now, and for someone with your depth, behavioral health leadership, regulatory expertise, clinical excellence, I imagine resilience is woven in every chapter of your life journey. Now, can you take us back, the origin story, take us back to the beginning? What experience, what moment, or what revelation led you into behavioral health and later into becoming a global strategist in that field? Thank you.
Thank you. Thinking about that, it's godsend. You have to follow the path that God leads you on. So my goal was to always be a neurosurgeon. So I was always fascinated by the brain, by behavior. I just didn't know to what extent. And when I became a nurse, I started out with the heart. And I totally didn't understand and felt, what am I doing here with the heart? And I eventually got back into behavioral health, and it was quite by accident. It was a challenge for myself. I wanted to see, what does that mean? I ask a lot of questions, and I wanted to understand infrastructure, how things operate. Why do we do what we do? Why do people do what they do? And when it comes to organizations, you only get so much. And you hear people always make statements about, oh, well, they don't know what they're doing. Why do they do that? That doesn't make any sense. Well, why do they make those decisions? What's going on? What's behind the doors that they can't tell us, but they're trained to teach us and tell us what they want, they think other people need to know instead of just being truthful and honest. So like I said, it was quite by accident that I got into leadership. And I just became very comfortable. I had a calling to be able to get structure. I had a calling that I was able to work with individuals. I got buy-in from people and they trusted me, and I kept my word. My integrity means everything.
Important. Yes, that is excellent.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for leading with your values.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. That's the reason why you've performed so well and you've been, exhibited stellar leadership in your
Thank,
career.
thank you.
Now, you're welcome. The why, let's examine the why behind your work. You spent over 2 decades stabilizing systems in crisis,
Mhm.
mentoring clinicians, I'm sure,
Yes.
restructuring behavioral programs, and guiding leaders. What fuels you, Dr. India, emotionally and spiritually, to keep doing this work, this important work, especially in a field that can be heavy, chaotic, and emotionally draining, I'm sure.
My drive is that I want everyone to get the best that they can have. We've all had families that have, or family members, or even ourselves, we've all had to seek some sort of help somewhere, and not all the treatment was good. And so, is it because the person didn't want to do well, or did the person not know how to do well? Or was the person suffering from something themselves that prevented them from being able to pour into you because they needed someone to pour into them? So my why is just that. There's really reasons behind why systems fail, why leaders are paralyzed, why patient outcomes aren't very well, and why, what is the personal? Now we're in this selfish type of society where everyone has a lot of trauma that they're bringing into their adulthood, or better yet, their children, and they've been born into trauma. And so I'm a mother of boys as well. And so I have my sons that are in the world, and I would want them to have someone to take care of them, have someone to look out for them. So I think it's very important that you give what you want to get back. And so even if it's indirectly to my children, I just always say, someone is taking good care of my children when they're not around me. And so it's my honor to be able to serve and take care of others because someone loves that person. May not be me or you, but someone does, and they deserve that.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. So accurate. So right on. Now let's examine the Red Pearl Standard. I love that name, by the way.
Thank you.
You created something extraordinary here. When I read about it, I immediately saw the resilience embodied in it, structure wise, integrity, and measurable outcomes. Vital.
Yes.
Now, let's understand a little bit more about that standard. What is the Red Pearl Standard for those who are listening out there today? And what inspired you to create this excellent framework? So needed.
Thank you. So I've been doing this, like you said, over 2 decades.
Mhm.
And there was not necessarily a name or a title. But in 2024, I lost my mother, and her first name was Pearl, and her favorite color was red.
Wow.
And so she was a very astute woman, very spiritual, kept me in church. raised us to be ladies and gentlemen. I have a brother, to do things the right way and to have excellence in everything that we do. So she had a standard.
Yes.
And even her penmanship was of perfection. So the Lord just gave me that name, the Red Pearl Standard. So it is an homage to my mother, to her legacy, to her memory, and to all that she imparted into our lives. So when I built this framework, I built it to help individuals and organizations to discover the truth. There's a lot of things that get muddled. The new word is, what is it? When you're making someone think that they are seeing something that they're not really seeing. It's being supportive, a structure, it's a foundation. And of course, as you stated, it delivers sustainable performance. So it's just not a quick fix.
No, that
It
is,
is a healing.
yes, it's a process.
Yes, you have to go in and you have to diagnose what's wrong, and
Mhm.
you have to have bravery and authenticity to do that.
Yes.
And so, many years of in leadership, I'm the only person that looks like me with my credentials oftentimes in the room. And my experience, I've been told to be quiet. I've been told that I am angry, that I am hostile, that I am too much. But instead of demurring my light, I ended up making it shine even brighter
Beautiful.
because my approval comes from a high, above high. Right? And so, how could I make sure that I kept my character, my strength, and my integrity so that I could help others? Plus, I have two sons. I have two grandsons. So, I am a boy, male individual. I was the only female in the home. Right? And so, making sure that I have a good foundation so that they see that how you're supposed to treat a woman, how they open doors, they're respectful, they say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, that they have integrity, that they're honest, but that they're also people and they have feelings, they have hearts, they have emotional traumas. My oldest son was a victim of random violence. He was shot at 7 times and 4 bullets hit him.
Oh my
But
God.
the Lord had a plan for him. It went to his arm, and that's the extent. He has metal plate and screws, but he is still here today, and he is an amazing dad.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's a scar that is forever in my son. Am I angry at the person? Did I have to forgive them? I sure did. And so it affects him. You can see that the anniversary or the time around that when that incident occurred, there's a silent change in his mood. There he goes inward. Um, it caused him to be have a more heightened alertness and things of that nature, which is of course anything that traumatic such as that would happen. I mean, even as a child, I got held in a robbery as a hostage with my dad. So yeah, and I think that depending on the times and what we go through in life, it builds us to this point and how so that we're able to deal with things at this level.
Wow. And first of all, I'm very grateful that your son is alive and well today.
Thank you. Yes.
So grateful for that
Yeah.
grace over his life.
Absolutely.
And I know that he's staffed for great and mighty things,
Yes. Yes.
a great purpose in his journey. So best wishes there.
Thank you.
I really have to say that I also have experienced personal and professional trauma. I know we're putting a lot of lens on men,
Mm-hmm.
but my dad also suffered, and he is missing for several years.
Mm.
So this is a very near and dear topic to
Mm.
me, like I mentioned. And thank you for all that you do, for your expertise, for your
Thank you.
time, your attention in the mental healing and empowerment of men as well as women.
Yes. Yes.
So often resilience is seen as personal.
Absolutely.
Your model shows resilience at the organizational and
Hmm.
clinical level. Now, how do structure and integrity in systems impact the mental health outcomes of the people they serve, especially men, in your mind?
So men are very instrumental. They are they're very powerful, but they have to realize that they are powerful, and their power sometimes they society sees it as in build and framework. But what
Mhm.
about on the inside? Um, if you are stated to be emotional and things of that nature, that's a negative connotation. No, it's not a negative connotation. We need to support men. We need to show that they too experience depression, anger. They overwork. They become withdrawal. Sometimes they do use substances to overt sadness, right? And that delete. And then they don't really feel that because of society or the way they were raised, we're not allowed to cry. You don't seek counseling. You don't seek help, especially in our culture.
Mhm.
Many other cultures, they may do that, but it is not shown as a sign of weakness. Actually, it's shown as a sign of strength. And their circle of influence is definitely impactful for men more so than even I believe for women. They have males have I have a nephew who went to the military at 18, lost his mother literally less than 30 days, which was my sister, right after he went in at 18. But
Wow.
he went into the Marines, and later when he came home, I saw the brotherhood that got built around him from
Yes.
his military brothers. And that was in the early 2000s. We're talking 25 years. They're still friends to this day. They
Wow.
have each other. I had the opportunity back then to talk to a couple of them, and
Mhm.
I just thank them for loving on him and taking care of him because that was right when the war, you're 18, did it
Mhm.
have a dramatic effect on his life? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are things that he will not talk about, and there are things that many men do not talk about because they have fears,
Wow.
right? And it affects their performance. Their trauma shows up as hyper control, emotional shutdown, or they just overwork themselves and they take that strength and it becomes their armor that way to protect themselves. They encase themselves in that.
Yes. Brilliantly said. Now, in my coaching work and my interactions globally, I've seen that men often feel emotionally handcuffed.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
mentioned punished, it seems, for
Hmm.
expressing pain, expected to be invulnerable,
Yep.
denied the language for what they feel.
Hmm.
Now, from your vantage point, clinical, operational, leadership, what are the most common mental health struggles you see men facing today? I know you've described a few earlier. If you can zoom in on a few common ones, typical ones.
Sure. For men in leadership, or in the workplace, a lot of times if they're leaders, they have to show that they are smart, brave, and have all the answers,
Mm,
right? They can't show a sign of questioning. If they weakness, I've even seen the extreme where there are leaders who are males who are very, very emotional, very tearful, and so it goes from one extreme to the other. Um, and the ones that were extremely emotional and tearful, who needed more, they needed help themselves. They sought to get help from their subordinates instead of rising above that and getting help from someone higher so that they could lead their subordinates. And so that was very difficult to watch because when you're speaking to, for me, I bring you to the side. I have a private conversation with you.
awesome.
And my conversation is from a place of love and respect, not ridicule or finger pointing. So when I would speak with certain individuals who would allow me those things, I've even had males who come to work, and because they may be severely overweight, they perspire, they sweat, they don't realize that they may have odorous,
Yes,
around them, and their peers are talking about them. And I'm like, did anyone help them? Did you tell them that? And so I've had to have those kind of conversations. No, I'm not HR, but that's a human being.
correct.
And they have appreciated the way that I've said it to them. in
Mm,
a respectful manner that was private, that was, I would ask questions as to how are they feeling? Are they sleeping? You seem to be a little distracted. What can I do for you? And so just that little bit of acknowledgement, it may not have cured everything, but for that moment or that brief period of time, it helped give them a light. Oh, wow, she sees me. She
yeah,
notices that there's something wrong. I
yeah,
don't have to keep it all inside, and she didn't go tell everybody.
exactly.
So I think that's why I've been very successful in being able to manage and work with individuals who are of a high elite caliber because of the respect, because of the anonymity, because of the privacy. Getting their permission to discuss certain things with individuals, giving them that, showing them that I respect you. You are a man. And in the Bible, the man is the head, right? And we're supposed to follow.
Mhm.
And so understanding that, and with the society now that roles may be reversed, and, are you less than a man because you stayed home? No, no, but you made a decision that worked. When I was married, my spouse stayed home. And it worked out better because I had the opportunity to make more. And so those things really were great for us.
Excellent. And I want to underscore what you just said. Everything has to be done from the point of dignity
Yes.
and respect.
Yes.
Every human being, and I'm going to just be repeating this for our listeners today, every human being deserves dignity
They
and
do.
respect, regardless of what they have done, regardless.
Regardless. Absolutely.
They are a human being.
Yes.
Treat them as such, as you would like to be treated.
Yes. Always.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Now,
Mhm.
the invisible barriers. What keeps men, in your mind, from seeking help? Is it something cultural, spiritual, social conditioning, fear of stigma? What is the biggest barrier you encounter, Dr. India?
Hmm. I think it's a combination of all of it.
Oh, wow.
Now as they're actually turning the tables a little bit more. You don't need to wait till an athlete goes on television, or a actor goes on television and they may have had a substance abuse issue, or they were placed in a facility for mental rest. I think that we as a society need to encourage our males from the time that they are infants all the way up, that it's okay to ask for help. So the stigma and their friends, males, the male social connection is really, really strong. It's very, very powerful. And so, the old school way is, oh, well, I'll just go hang out with my boys and we'll
Mhm.
talk about it. But now you need a little bit more. You may even need some sort of medication or meditation, and I do believe that some believe that there is a spiritual connotation to it as well.
Yeah,
So, but I do think that I know for sure that more men are seeking help. They want to be better men. They want to be better fathers. They want to have their truths explained. They want to understand why they feel the way they do. So I think that it's a slow shift. It's a slow shift, but getting out and having conversations such as this, letting them know that it is okay, that women really appreciate that.
of course, of course, of course. Excellent. Very well said.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of crisis, let's dive in a little bit into crisis points.
Okay.
In your years leading psychiatric programs and working in behavioral health systems, what are the signs you see when a man is silently reaching that breaking point?
A lot of times it can be seen as aggression,
Mhm.
self-destruction. They may not intentionally try to hurt others, but they could be trying to hurt themselves. Um, Making negative statements about themselves. What do I need to be here for? Don't nobody love me? Who cares? I'll just go out and just end it. That's the spiral effect. Isolation is really big. It's not, well, they just need time by themselves. No, isolation is the most dangerous time of all. because those mental thoughts, those negative voices that they hear in their head, is telling them to do self-harm.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. You don't want to go in and find someone that you love or that you care about. Well, he said he was tired. I'm just going to go let him get some rest. That's okay, but you still need to check on him.
That one.
So those are usually some of the systematic things that men do, that I've seen. And oftentimes we need to change the narrative that is not a legal thing, that they need to be placed in jail. They may need to be placed in a behavioral facility for a time, and they need to have some specific things that are therapeutic for men,
Yes.
that are designed for men, not for everybody, but just for men.
Yes. Customized
Yes, yes, yes.
healing strategies, coping strategies.
Exactly.
Very, very important. Thank you for shedding light on that.
Thank you.
Now, if we can just dive a little bit more into trauma-informed resilience for men. Now, as a certified trauma and resilience life coach, I often remind people that resilience isn't about being tough,
Right.
it's about being supported.
Yes,
It's
yes.
about recovery and not endurance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, trauma itself is hidden as strength. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
How does trauma manifest differently in men, especially men who have been conditioned to be strong ones in society?
They really pretty much go inward. Majority of them, they don't ask for help.
Mhm.
They they seek out, maybe sometimes they go to the gym and they work themselves out to exhaustion, or they are not available to their significant others. Very angry. They come across as extremely angry. And it's because they don't know where to place those feelings. They don't understand those feelings. And when you're confronting them, nothing's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with me. What are you talking about? But you have to speak to their heart, not speak to the vision, the person that you see in front of you.
Yes, yes,
And so once you speak to their heart will trigger their mind, and you need to let them know that they have safety. Men need to be more safe than women, actually. They need to feel very safe with that. So supporting them with and helping them to know that they don't have to carry the load by themselves. That boundaries are part of healthy support. If
correct.
you see self-destruction, address it.
Hmm, hmm. Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned safety net, right, for vulnerability.
Yes,
So,
yes.
what is, in your mind, what does a true safe space look like for men from your
Well, what the,
professional perspective? Yeah.
I think is individualized for each person.
Hmm.
A safe space may be so much as time with their children, knowing that when they come home, they're not going to be ridiculed. They're not going to be yelled at. They're not going to be accused of things. That could be safety for one person. Going to work, feeling empowered,
Hmm.
feeling, even if someone says, you know what, you look very nice today. Wow, that's a nice color on you. Sometimes just simple compliments
Hmm.
can boost and allow them to feel a sense of safety that, oh, okay, well, today may be a better day. I think that there are so many negative things going on that are said about men that it's been generational. And that leads to a generational curse. And there is a presumption that all men are deadbeats, and they're not. That all men are lazy, and they're not. So breaking those stigmas down
Yeah.
and saying, I see you, I hear you, just saying thank you
Yep.
has so much. And I think that is what some of the safety that a lot of men need, to
Yes.
know that they are appreciated
Yes.
and cared for.
Yes. Everything starts with gratitude,
Gratitude.
appreciation.
Yes.
It does not cost a thing.
Nothing. It's free.
Be grateful for someone.
Yes.
No, thank you for that. And now let's, in terms of the family and the community, because I know you're very family and community oriented. How can partners families, colleagues, and even workplaces contribute to men's resilience rather than inadvertently adding pressure or shame, which we know that society is very good at adding
Mhm.
shame.
So one thing, it can be having opportunities for men, making them available. Better yet, not that men, men don't really do a lot of research all the time. A lot of more women do more research than men. But having things that are available. Speaking of, men communities. A lot of churches, they do have men leaderships, they have men prayer groups. Maybe that's not for you, but there are other non-denominational ways of things that are out there, more advertisement, inviting men, invite them. They don't know that they can come unless they've been invited. So inviting them to different kind of groups and organizations. There are a lot of single parent dads. So having groups for dads in the community that are single parent dads who are raising children, especially if they're a dad raising girls. How do you support your daughter who will be going through, female changes and body changes as a father? And making sure that you're comfortable with those kind of conversations. So having support groups for men, all the things that we do for ladies and moms and grandmoms, we need to do for granddads, uncles. There are a lot of men who are uncles. They may not have their own children, but they are uncles, and giving them support as well to be an uncle is very important. So I think the community definitely needs to advertise it more, showing that it is an opportunity, that it is available.
Mhm. Very well said. Very well said.
Thank you.
So, inclusion
Yes.
in all ways in society. We need to
Yeah.
include men and women.
Yes.
So, again, human being. Treat everyone as a human being.
Right.
Resilience, let's talk about resilience through systems. Clinical and your organization insight is needed here. Now, you've designed full psychiatric units, built infrastructures from scratch, and optimized clinical teams worldwide. Your vantage point is really equally personal and systemic. Now, if we dive into systems that heal versus the systems that harm, what systemic issues make it harder for men to get the help they need? And what changes do you believe are urgently required in the ecosystem today?
So in a system, usually there's always panic. And the panic comes from the upper leadership on the leadership that's at the ground level. So, and I think it comes from a lack of knowledge and understanding. So, a lot of corporations look at figures and outcomes. And if they don't see the figures, the numbers don't look right, then they put pressure on the team, which a lot of CEOs, there are a lot of female CEOs, but there are a lot of males who are in these leadership roles, and they are pressuring them to improve these measures and these outcomes and these goals. And a lot of times it is, nope, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Nope, that's not going to work. Just do what I tell you. So those are some of the conversations behind the boardroom door. And when you're sitting in a room and, the big boss who hasn't come in a year is
Mm,
saying, I'm on my way, right? It gives a heightened fear already, like, oh my God, I'm about to be fired.
mm,
And so they feel paralyzed. They don't want to say the things that they want to say. They keep those inside. And then the processes that need to be done because they're boots on the ground, the upper leadership is not respective of that. And so then when they come in town, nope, this is what you need to do. This is what we did everywhere else. And that's what worked over there. So you need to make it work over here. And no, you don't have resources. No, I'm not giving you these. I'm not giving more money. I'm not. So it leaves you to your own devices. And a lot of times when that pressure builds up so much, it's like being in a bottle. It's gonna
yeah.
pop.
Oh, yes.
And so having opportunities, when they sit down, and let's give some acknowledgement to the upper leadership as well. They're very stressed.
Mm-hmm.
They're stressed as well. So, the higher the title, the more pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're in a room full of individuals, some know what they're talking about, some do not, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And, it all depends on how it's presented, what's said. You're stumbling over your words. You're trying to tiptoe on rice paper because you don't want anyone to be upset or you don't want anyone to misinterpret what you were saying. It is all individuals and it is a personal thing. And a lot of times, from what my vantage point has been, it's that person. It is not the group entirely. It's usually one person that overwhelms the group.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that's usually the person that needs the most help.
Yes, definitely. And I really want to underscore that, leaders do go through, pressure themselves,
Yes.
right? Caregiver, and those and other leaders in the health industry. We have to
Yes.
focus on that. So you also guide, I believe, clinical teams through
Mhm.
crisis and restructuring.
Mhm.
What training or awareness is really missing among clinicians, those who care for us, when it comes to supporting men's mental health?
I think that preparation and acknowledgement. I still, because right now we are the Darwinism about survival of the fittest. So
Mm,
crabs in a barrel. How do I survive? How do I make it to the top? I think that a lot in some organizations, that's the mentality. And so that tends to add a cloud of suspicion and untrust. So, well, she wants my job or he wants my job. And it's like, I don't want your job. So oftentimes when I come in, that is the sense that is felt from the individuals. And I have to be explicit and say, I'm not here to take your job. I'm actually here to help you. If you allow me to show you,
mhm,
and you have to do it respectfully, and you have to hear what their needs are first. So only the man can tell you what's wrong with him,
oh yeah.
right? And so once he tells you what's wrong with him, don't let it fall on deaf ears. Give them avenues and ways to help, to build him up, to build those systems up, to build those teams up so that they don't fall out of the society that we really need men to be out here, to be in the forefront, right? We have more women leaders than
Mhm.
ever before. And I'm not diminishing that. I think it's great. But sometimes we need to find balance. And so working with men and making sure that their mental needs, their health needs, their emotional needs is very, very important. Even the ones that are, why do you behave the way you do?
Yes, yes. And I must emphasize, we need to definitely listen more.
Hmm.
Society in general, not just clinicians and leaders in the healthcare industry and beyond.
Hmm.
To listen more and offer support, coping
Right.
strategies when we are qualified to do so. And if you are not, please point them in the direction of
Somebody that
professional
is, yes.
clinician support, right? Those with that expertise.
Absolutely. Even with athletes, you know, injuries can be mind-blowing
Oh,
because will I heal the same? Will I be able to return to the same level that I was prior to my injury? And even if when they do recover and they return, there's always this little thing in the back of their mind that is a little cautious. They don't want to
yes,
hurt themselves again.
yes.
Will their
Waiting
performance
for that
be
last.
demurred as a result of this?
Yeah.
Will they lose their positioning? And
Mhm.
even when they get traded,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
did I do something? Did you not like me? Now I have to go home and uproot my family. All of those things. I can't keep my family safe and in one spot. Now we all have to move. So did I do something wrong that now that the team wants me to go here or wants me to go there? And, I said one thing, and so now I'm being ridiculed and stigmatized as this person.
Mhm.
All of those things, and that's the suffering in silence. Those are the thoughts that they have on the drive and in the car, and they look in the mirror and and they feel that men really need to feel that they are the protectors
Yes,
and
yes.
that they can protect and provide.
It's about mental healing, it's
Yeah.
about empowerment for
Yes.
men, and it's also about compliance in administration of mental health care.
Yes.
With the regulatory compliance, risk mitigation, all those
Yes.
things that are often seen as paperwork, it's there to protect the vulnerable
Absolutely.
at risk.
Hmm.
So, let's dive into the practical strategies as we wind down here for resilience. Now, I have to say this for the men watching today, and for the women who love a support and lead alongside them. Let's bring this home with practical tools.
Yeah.
Now, daily resilience tools. What are three, Dr. India? What are three practical resilience building strategies men can begin using immediately, even if they're not ready for therapy?
Well, then so emotional intelligence, what does that really mean? Right? That doesn't mean that I know the I statements or I feel statements, but having a changing your thoughts. And that's something that you can do. When that negative talk comes and says you suck, you're no good, you say, no, that's not true. So it starts inward. So that's one thing to work on changing the thought process. More
Mhm.
than anything, who is your circle of influence?
Mhm.
Are the individuals that are in your circle really good for you? Do you need to reevaluate who you spend your time with and what you're doing with that time? And then third, you may not want to go get help, but do something so you want to work on your mind, your body, and your spirit. So move, right? The way you eat, do you get enough sleep? Are
Mhm.
you hydrating? Are you moving and working out? Are you reading? Are you growing your mind? Now, you can have people that say, oh, I hate to read. Well, there are tons of books on the line that will read to you. But what are you putting into yourself? Not only nourishment, but externally, right? And the circle of influence is really big to me. It is those individuals for men, they, like I said, they have this brotherhood and this camaraderie. So making sure they look at those things. So I think those are very, very important.
Yeah. Well said. Brilliant. Thank you so much for all these amazing insights you've been
Yeah.
sharing here today. Absolutely the expert.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm a firm believer in seeking help without shame.
Good.
Really do. How
Yes.
can men really start the process of seeking support in a way that feels safe, in a way that feels dignified, hear that word again, and empowering in your mind?
Well, they can start by reaching out to me if they like to. And so they can reach out to me. My they can reach out to me by sending me a direct, and it's a private email, and they can reach out to me at India at the redpearlstandard.com or mentor me, Dr. India, all one word, mentor me, Dr. India at Gmail. And they can send that to me. I will make an appointment for them and we will talk, or I can send them if they don't want to talk on the phone yet. I can send them a questionnaire to kind of delve down to what maybe they don't know what they feel. Maybe they don't know what's wrong. Maybe they don't know what's going on, but allowing me to use my tool to assess them and guide them in the road that they should be going. So that's one way. A lot of times your job does have EAP, and
Yes.
they can use the employee assistance program. That's usually just an 800 number. It's confidential, and it's usually no charge for several of the sessions. And so, over 75% of the workforce is suffering from some sort of depression or burnout. Right. And so those are some of the ways that men can reach out, going to their primary doctor. Don't say that you don't believe in healthcare, because healthcare is something that is needed, I believe. Doesn't mean that you have to, go all the time. But those are two things you can do. There's lots of apps online, but you don't know which one is for you. So maybe ask your doctor to give you a referral. That's
Okay.
another way to start.
Yes, well said. And thank you so much for sharing your information. So, listening audience today, you've heard the information in terms of how you can contact Dr. India if you're struggling and really looking for that help or want to follow up on those brilliant insights that she shared in terms of mental health, healing, and those coping strategies.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yes, thank you so much. So, if one thing is the scenario of when supporting men becomes heavy, right? So, we know for our spouses, partners, mothers, daughters, friends, what advice would you give to people who are trying to support a man they love who is struggling but resistant to help? And I've experienced that. I've been in those shoes already.
Absolutely. So if you have a prayer life, definitely add your prayer life into that. And remember when I said about speaking to the heart,
Mhm.
whenever I have a tough conversation or something that I need to say, I do go to the Lord in prayer for the words. Some people may need to write a letter, not a text, but a letter, and give them a private letter. And so there are support groups, or you can reach out to me and I can help you, guide you to support your male, your mate, your son, your significant other. It could even be your brother or your uncle, someone you're close to. But making sure that you have support as well to be able to support them is very much needed.
Well said. Well said. Now, as we close again, thank you for this intellectually stimulating conversation today.
Thank
Truly
you.
appreciate your depth and your knowledge on this important topic of men's mental health and resilience. Now, Dr. India, today you've given language to silent battles, clarity to complex systems, and compassion to the experience of men,
Mhm.
foundation, who walk through the world with quiet wounds. I have to say to every man watching, your strength is not diminished by your pain. Your story does not lose value because you ask for help. Your resilience is not measured by endurance, but by your capacity to rise again with support, structure, and truth. To every woman watching today, you're not meant to carry the mental load alone. You are a partner in healing and not the savior of someone else's storm. Today, today we honor the resilience of men, the fathers, the brothers, the leaders, the sons, the husbands, and friends who deserve the same emotional freedom and healing we so often give to others. Now, thank you. Thank you, Dr. India, for your brilliance, your spirit, amazing spirit, and your transformational leadership. The world needs your voice. And
Can I
thank
give
you.
a final closing? I
Yes,
want it to be explained to men to regulate your body, name your emotion, and identify your safe support. And
ma'am.
just know that men do not need to be fixed, they need to be supported.
Wow. Let's digest that statement, everyone. Not need to be fixed, men need to be supported. We all have men in our lives. Let's start there. And thank you. Thank you, Dr. India. Thank you to our viewers for joining us on the Breaking Barriers interview series on Boost Throughs, the Resilient Power TV show. Rise above, heal within, and shine beyond. Healing is allowed in this place, and resilience is cultivated, and power is restored. Have an amazing rest of day, and thank you for tuning in today. Goodbye.